What's considered a debt? Why is it important to know what a debt is when it comes to setting my budget? In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between living expenses and debts and why it's important to differentiate between them. I'm also going to show you where to place this information in my free budget setting tool and how it can impact the rest of the tabs in the tool. To receive your own copy of the tool, subscribe to my email list found on my website, millsknowsbills.com. And to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos about practical budget setting tips, information from experts, or additional personal finance advice, subscribe to my YouTube channel here. New videos will be posted every Tuesday, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. So, what is debt? According to Investopedia.com, debt is an amount of money borrowed by one party from another, and it gives the borrowing party permission to borrow money under the condition that it is to be paid back at a later date, usually with interest. In other words, debt is just money that you've borrowed that when you go to pay it back, usually has interest added back with the payment. Living expenses, on the other hand, don't have interest associated with the payment. Instead, it's simply an expense that must be paid to uphold a certain standard of living. Let me show you where you can put this information on your budget setting tool. All right, so I'm just going to keep building off of the same sheet that I've used in previous examples. We're going to keep going. We're going to scroll down all the way to the debt information. And there are examples of different types of debts on the right-hand side. For example purposes, I'm just going to choose a couple so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to do a car loan. I'm going to do some student loans, and let's just do a credit card bill. And I'm going to go ahead and fill out the total amount outstanding, the monthly payment amount, and the monthly due date for all three of those items here. All right, and then I'm going to go over to the budget tab. And if you scroll down, you can see where the debt payments are included. Again, there's going to be some breaks between the living expenses and the debts because I needed to make sure that I added enough line items for everyone. And this is just a way for you to set your standard budget. We're still working on this, okay? And then lastly, we're going to go over to the debt tab, and you can see how many months you have left if you were to keep paying the current amount that you're paying. This is a great way for you to figure out how to start expediting your debt payments. There's going to be a video on this later on. Comment below if you're unsure if something is a living expense or a debt payment. I'll respond and let you know. You want to make sure that your living expenses and debts are completely filled out on the budget setting tool sheet. That way you can properly estimate how much of an emergency fund that you will need to save for. Because emergency funds are so important, I have an entire video dedicated to teaching you about them coming out in 2 weeks. And only a few weeks after that, I have an entire video dedicated on how to expedite your debt payments. If you don't have my free budget setting tool yet, subscribe to my email list found on my website, millsknowsbills.com. If you learned something new, please like this video below. To make sure you don't miss out on any future videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel here and click the bell icon to make sure you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.